from Magellan College Counseling.
And I'm Michelle.
And we are here on the campus of UC Irvine today, and we are going to give you some tips on the UC application.
I'm from Seattle, so I'm going to share some information if you're applying as an out-of-state student.
And I'm from California, so I'm going to help you learn how to apply if you're in-state.
So the first section you'll start in your UC application is the About You section, and it's pretty straightforward. Just work through the questions one at a time. They like you to start, the UCs like you to start with the About You section before you move on to other sections. The one section that does trip people up within this area is whether or not they have to complete the financial questions that are about asking you about your family's financial situation. Those are optional, so we'll just leave it up to you as to whether or not you'll complete them and continue on after that.
So the second section of the UC application is called Campuses and Majors. And when you click into that section, you're going to be asked to agree to the UC community values. That's the first part of the section. And after you agree to the community values, it's going to show you a map of the state of California, and it's going to show you where the 9 undergraduate UC campuses are. Or if your computer is like mine, it's just going to show you a list. I can't tell you why. You're just going to check the little box next to each of the campuses you want to apply to. And on the next screen, it's going to give you the opportunity to choose a major and an alternate major for each UC campus that you apply to, except for UCLA, where you only get to choose a primary major. But for every other campus, you get to choose a major and an alternate. And we strongly recommend that you do select both a major and an alternate major, because if they can't admit you for your first choice major, they're basically asking you for an opportunity to be able to admit you for a second choice major. The last tip on this section is if you are applying to UC San Diego, the application is going to ask you to rank the undergraduate residential colleges within UC San Diego. So there's 8 of them, and they are the residential colleges with which you will be affiliated. When you click on rank the UCSD colleges, a list will pop up of all 8 of them. And what we recommend you do is take a look at the general education requirements for each of those residential colleges, because they vary a little bit. And so, for example, in one college you will have to take calculus, versus another college you might have to take a fine arts class, or maybe 2. Some colleges you might have to take a couple quarters of foreign language, whereas other colleges you may not have to do that. So you really should look at the general education requirements as you rank which of the UCSD colleges you would like. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about the academic history part of the UC application. It's probably the most important part of the application. So I'm going to talk to in-state California students. If you are graduating from a high school in California and have attended a high school in California, the UC application actually knows what classes were available to you. So you're going to start answering the questions in the academic history section. You're going to tell it what high school you will graduate from. You're going to tell it if you attended any other high schools and took classes there. And then you're going to get into really the meat of the application and enter all of your courses and grades from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, the classes that you're taking as a senior. There are no transcripts in the UC application, so the whole process is really about you self-reporting all of your courses and grades. Now, if you're a California high school student, you probably know what the A through G requirements are. Those are all of your academic core subjects that you've been taking in high school. And again, the UC application knows what classes were available to you. If you run into a situation where you took an honors class and there's no honors class listed in the drop-down menu, it's okay for you to enter your class. There's a button at the very bottom that says, I don't see my courses. It's okay for you to check that and enter the course as an honors course, but the chances are that how it is listed in the UC application really is how your high school has given you credit for it. There is a website, and we'll put a link within this video. There's a website where you can look up to see what classes your high school offered and which ones count for honors credit, so that GPA bump through the UC system.
If you're an out-of-state student. So unlike in California students, when they're entering their courses and grades, the application knows what the courses were, it pulls it in. If you're an out-of-state student, you have to actually enter in the name of your course, exactly how it's on your transcript. It's
super important for you to enter in the name if it includes the word title honors. Include that in there because our out-of-state students' honors classes are not given an academic bump within the GPA calculation. However, you know that the UC readers read your application with a holistic review and they're considering the rigor that you took. So that honors denotation in your title is super important. When you're entering your courses, you're only entering in A through G courses. Those are core academic courses. For example, A is history, B is English, C is math, and it continues on. That categorization you can find on the application itself. So when you're entering your course, if it's an English course, you're going to select A, and you're just going to work through entering in your courses. Evelyn mentioned previously that there is a UC Doorways website. If you click on the button there that says courses, if you're not certain what your course is, if it actually is one of those A3G courses, click on courses, type in the name, for example, computer science, and then you can see what all the other high schools in the state of California, how they rank that, how they consider that course. Is it considered a C for math, or is it considered a science class? Do what you see is the most commonly coded letter. That's how you should enter yours. The other thing that you may wonder about is where do you put the courses you took in 7th and 8th grade? And those are only the courses that you took in 7th and 8th grade that count for the UCs are language other than English and a math course. And you enter them in a section separate from what we just described here called 7th and 8th grade course entry. And when you enter it, you do not have to worry about your grade. Simply have passed the class with a C- or above to get a pass credit.
Okay, so if you've taken a college course, you also need to report that in the UC application. There's a whole separate section that says colleges and universities. You tell it which college you attended, and then the section after that, if you say yes, the new section asks you to report which courses you took. So you should probably have your college transcript in front of you. Just like if you're an in-state student, the application knows what courses your high school had to offer. If you attended a California community college, all of those courses are also inside the application. So once you tell it, you went to Moore Park College or Santa Monica College, it knows exactly what was available. So all you have to do is expand the department where you took the class and tell it what grade you got. If you took a class at somewhere other than a California community college, you're going to enter the name of your college. You're probably going to have to look it up in the system, and then you're going to enter the department number. So this is why you need your transcript. You're going to need the department number or code. You're going to need the name of your class. You're going to need to know how many credits you received, and of course your grade. And it will also have you attach an A through G subject to that college course. So for example, if you took a business course, you're going to call that a G, which is an elective. If you took an economics course, you're going to call that a G, which is an elective. But if you took a foreign language at a non-community college, at another college, you would call that an E, because E is the language other than English, foreign language. Okay, so that's the college section in the academic history section.
So the testing section on the UC application is primarily for entering in your AP courses, or if non-native English speaker from another country, you would enter in your TOEFL scores. The SAT and ACT are not required here in this section at all. The UCs do not use the ACT or SAT, but you will want to enter in your AP scores. You're just self-reporting these. Keep in mind these are not for credit. This is just to let the UCs know how you scored on those exams as part of their holistic review of your application. We typically recommend that students should report any score a 3 or above.
Is the activity section. You get 20 spots, 20 activity opportunities to enter in, but there are 6 different categories. So the first 3 are extracurriculars, so that's just entering in a regular extracurricular activity. It's very straightforward, but you actually have a total of 350 characters to describe what you're doing in that activity. It's really important to use numbers, quantify, use action verbs to describe your skills, the impact, things you learned. Really take advantage of that space. The other type of activity that you might have, and you can enter here, is other coursework. Now this is a course that you may have taken actually for credit in your high school, or but doesn't qualify as an A through G course. So an example of that might be an entrepreneurship class or an engineering class. Definitely put this on here because it's something that you did. The other type of activity that you could put here is what we call educational prep program. These are programs that could be short in duration or long, something you did over the summer or during the school year where you did not receive credit for it. So it could be maybe a camp or a research program that you did for 2 weeks through Rosetta, or maybe you took a film class at CSUN. This is where you would put that in that education, in that preparatory program section. There's often a drop-down list or a list somewhere on the UC application of the types of programs that they consider for that. Things like, I think AVID is one that is often mentioned. So just go ahead and look that up within the UC application. I think there's an info box that gives you more support there.
I'll talk to you about the 3 other categories that you have available to you in the activities and awards section. And the 3 categories I'm going to talk about each have an additional space for you to do some explaining. And again, remember, the UC application is all about context. They're looking to know everything you've done in the context of what was available to you. So the 3 sections, the 3 categories under activities and awards that I want to tell you about are awards, where if you won an award, they're not only going to ask you what you did to earn that award, but they're also going to give you a little box where you can talk about what the eligibility requirements were. So this is something you're going to want to look up. So for example, if you won the College Board's, AP Scholar with distinction, you want to look up on the College Board website what it took for you to get that honor and enter that in the box. Of course, there's a million other awards out there in the world, but if you win an award, you want to know what it took for you to get it, and then you want to describe exactly what you did to earn that award. The next 2 categories also give you an additional box to share more information other than your own participation. So the first category is work experience. If you have had a paying job, and you can even consider a non-paying, an internship job, you can call that work experience. Not only do they give you a box with 350 characters for you to explain what you did in that job, but they give you another box just to explain what the company does or what the organization does. So you might actually want to just take something off their website. The final category is volunteer activities or community service. So again, you are going to write the 350 characters, which is a lot, by the way. It's like 75 to 85 words. So it's almost a tiny little mini essay in itself. So you're going to use that box, that bottom box, to give the 350 characters on what you did in that community service activity. You have another box available where they want to know what the organization is really all about. So I'll give you an example. I have a lot of students who go to Santa Monica High. They volunteer for Heal the Bay. So Heal the Bay is an organization where we do beach cleanups, we check the quality of the water, there's a whole bunch of things we do to make the environment cleaner. And I've had students go on to Heal the Bay's website and take some language and put it in the box. So this helps the UCs understand what you were doing and what the organizations that you were volunteering for or working for are really all about. So there's a scholarship section in the UC application, and I want you to fill it out. There's little scholarships. There's not a ton of big, huge scholarships, but there's a lot of little scholarships. And what you should do is there's different categories of scholarships. You want to expand each category and read each line. You have to read very carefully because some of them are super specific. Some of them are a little out there, and you might read it and go, oh my God, are you kidding me? But you never know. One of them might apply to you. So go through, expand every section, and check every single one that might apply to you.
So the last section on the UC application is the PIQs, personal insight questions. The key here is questions. These are not essays. They are 350-word responses to questions. You have 8 options. You write to 4. And the idea is to be as concise as possible, provide depth, context. They do not have to be flowery. Think of them like an interview. And Kuka Acosta, who is the interim dean of admission at UC Santa Barbara, has done a webinar that is fantastic. We'll link to it. It provides the best advice that we could give you with regards to writing your UC PI case.